You're listening to Female Founders with Claire Bartlett, the podcast that tells you what it is really like to be a female founder in today's world. We share invaluable insights through personal journeys and real-life business experiences, highlighting the highs and the lows so you can move forward in your business with ease. I am passionate to share with you the realities of business and give you the strategies and simple steps you need to truly succeed with your business. Today's episode is brought to you by Xero Accounting Software, a champion of female entrepreneurs and a proud sponsor of the Female Founders podcast. Managing your business finances can feel overwhelming, but Xero simplifies it all and gives you the power to keep your books in order and your mind on growth. Xero have offered an amazing 50% discount on your first 3 months with them. So if you'd like to take advantage of this amazing deal, just search refer.xero.com/female founders or follow the link in the show notes. Don't forget to give this show a follow to make sure you never miss an episode and share it with any incredible female founders you know. But for now, let's jump into this week's episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Female Founders podcast. I'm Claire, your host, and today I want to talk to you all about branding because I've been getting asked so many times recently, what's the difference between a personal brand and a business brand? And I think the term personal brand puts a lot of fear in people. They're thinking, celebrities and influencers. And that's not necessarily what it means. So I'm going to break down the myths today, explain all the different types of branding, and then how you can build strategies around them. So let's start. In regards to branding, I think there's 3 different areas in a business that you need to think about branding. There's your personal brand, which is you, the business owner. There's the business brand, and then there's the product brand. So if you think about Sarah Blakely, for instance, she is the personal brand. It's her business. Her business is Spanx. That's the business brand. And then there's all of the different products and services that she provides under that business. Or think Steve Jobs and Apple and then the iPad or the iPhone. So you can see the 3 different stages of the branding that you need to use to really market yourself and your products and services. Now, if we look at the personal brand first, really that is making that personal connection with your audience. It's becoming the face of the brand. It's showcasing who you are as a person, your idealisms, why you do what you do, and the passion that you have for solving that problem. Then you have the business brand, and the business brand really is about showing the values and the mission of the business. It's about the overarching theme of what products and services you're providing. And then that is broken down further by the individual products or services. So, for instance, if you are selling courses, you will have different branding and names for each of those courses, and you will market each one of them individually. So, when we're talking about marketing strategy, you need to think about all of these 3 things and how you're going to build a plan that allows space for all of these things. You need to decide which one you want to give the most attention, and that won't be the same all the way through the year. This will change. So, for instance, on a day-to-day, you always want to be building that personal brand. If you can get the visibility on yourself and your morals, your beliefs and your passion, if you can use different techniques like PR and media, public speaking, those sorts of things, that's all going to benefit your personal brand. You don't get up on stage as a business. You get up on stage as a person. It's your voice that they're hearing. It's your thoughts. You've created that presentation or that talk, whatever it is that you're doing. So that's all about building authority in your space as a person. And then when it comes to your business branding, this is dealt with very differently. So, it's so much deeper than just picking a pretty logo or creating a nice website. Those are the most basic level elements of branding. And yes, everybody should have them. But that's not going to tell me anything about your business. That's not going to show me those missions or those values. It's just a surface level insight into, a pretty color scheme. So, when you're looking at building a business brand strategy, this is about repeatedly telling everybody what the business stands for. Like I said, the mission that you are on, what you are trying to help people with, what products and services you're putting out into the world, and why. And then you go to your products and services themselves. And this is where you have, launches when you're creating a new product or service. You will have specific launch periods within the year. And that's when all of your marketing strategy really is going on marketing your products and services. So, as you can see, as I'm talking you through this, actually building a brand strategy is a lot deeper than just I'm going to post some social media content and hope something sticks. And, you need to really be working all three channels at different points through the year. And at some points, you need to be doing all three at the same time. So, if we talk about the benefits of all three and how they can work together and complement each other to really give a rounded picture of what it is that you're working towards. So as I've mentioned, personal branding is so important. And yes, like I said earlier, people really think when they hear the term personal brand that it's all about becoming an influencer or a celebrity, where suddenly you're everywhere and you are what you're selling. Well, that's not necessarily true, but depending on the space that you are in, whether that's coaching or strategy, an online space, a lot of the time, really, it is you that you're selling. You need people to connect with you and want to work with you. So the personal brand is actually one of the most important elements. There are lots of different ways that you can build your personal brand. Number one, obviously, yes, is social media. Posting regularly, but posting things about yourself and behind the scenes. So, posting photos of yourself, videos of you talking. And this doesn't have to always be related to business. In fact, people prefer it when it's not. As a world, we are really nosy. Humans love to see what other people are doing and how they spend their time. So the more insight you can give into just generally how you live your life, what have you had for breakfast? Pictures of you where you go to walk your dog, pictures of going out for brunch with the girls or, sitting on the train waiting to go to an event or a meeting. Those are the sorts of things that people love because they're getting a sneaky little insight into how you're spending your day. And that's so important. We speak a lot, as an entire online business world, you will hear the term repeatedly about building that know, like, and trust. And that is how you get clients to decide they want to work with you. Well, a huge proportion of that comes to the personal brand because they want to know who is behind that business. They want to see your face. They want to hear your voice. They want to understand, how you work. And if they were going to work with you, how you would communicate with them. And the only way they're going to get to understand those things, especially in a much faster route, is through building a personal brand. So there's so many elements that you can utilize to help you do this, as I mentioned. PR and media is a great one. And that really makes you sort of seem above the standard business owner. People will put you on a pedestal if they see that you are in national press and media. One caveat I will say to this, though, is if you are looking at people who you think are currently above you and ahead of you in the business chain, please know that it's exactly the same as it is with social media and it's all a facade. Every business owner I have met, no matter whether they are multimillionaires or whether they are earning 15 grand a year, we all have the same pain points, the same, issues and self doubt sometimes. We all question ourselves. So don't think that anybody is ever above you. It's just that they probably have been in business for longer and therefore they are just ahead down the road. They're just further down that road. They're not any better than you are. So back to the point. Anyway, building press and media literally gives you such authority in your space and will make you appear as an expert in that space, which is invaluable when you're building a brand. You can also, public speaking is a huge one. Yes, I know that this is the one that people are most scared of. And the first few times I did it, honestly, I was petrified, like absolutely petrified. But I pushed through that fear because I made sure that I got comfortable with being uncomfortable. It is the most important thing in business is to make sure that you are constantly pushing your boundaries. And public speaking is a big one that will push your boundaries hella far. And that's what you want because you want to be constantly moving forward in your business. Then there's the business brand. Now, as I've said, the business really is about showing your values and your missions as a business. And I think this is an area that can be quite muddy and people can get quite confused. People will say, well, I am my business and my business is me. That isn't true, especially if you're wanting to build, a really successful business. You have to detach yourself from that business. And the only way to do that is to start building separate brands because along down the line, most of us should be thinking about an exit strategy for that business. We want to be selling that business, we want to be cashing out. That's the aim of the game. And if it isn't, you really should start thinking about your exit strategy for your business because you don't want to put 20, 30 years of work into something and then just walk away from it one day. You want a cash investment. You want a reward for all the hard work. But if you are, if you haven't separated that personal brand and that business brand and you are one, then that's a very difficult task to do because that business won't survive without you in it. So, building that business mindset and removing your emotions and your attachment to that business and then separating the two brands is a really key point to focus on to make sure that you have longevity and you have that exit strategy. But then you will also be able to continue, doing what you want to do and whatever it is without that business attached to you. So, the values and the missions of the business, it's really important to share them, but it's also very important to understand that those are not necessarily your personal beliefs and mission and value. They are completely different things. So my values in life are, I want to always be kind and I want to make sure that I'm always understanding and caring. That's very important to me as a person. If you are ready to elevate your visibility, boost your confidence, and take your business to the next level in 2025, then you need to be at Elevate on the 17th of December 2024. This event is a one-of-a-kind day of empowerment solely for female founders. It's a full day of masterclasses bringing together some of the country's most impressive businesswomen, and I can't wait to see you there. So head on over to claire-bartlett.co.uk/elevate 2024 to find out more. I'll put the link in the show notes below. But actually, those don't always work in business. They can't be one of my business values. My business values can be welcoming and engaging and create a safe space. That can be a business value. But if I need to be tough, for instance, with a non-paying client or something like that, then the business needs to be able to do that. It needs to be in their values that they can do that. So the values and the mission are attached to, they come from your personal missions and values, but they're not the same. And again, it's really important to work through and figure out, okay, well, what is my personal values and what are the business values? So I always want to make sure that I'm authentic and genuine in everything that I do. That's a personal value, but that is also a great business value. So that is one of my business values as well, because in my business and my business branding, I also want to make sure that I'm always authentic and genuine. So you can have some crossovers, but it's important to not feel like they all have to match because they can't. A person has very different values to a business. But then this is the work that you need to do to figure out what your business stands for, what the mission of the business is. And the mission really is something that you take a lot deeper than, I'm wanting to make a 6-figure turnover this year, or I'm wanting to sell 500 products. Those aren't really a mission. A mission is a much bigger thing than that. A mission is I'm helping women in business because I want to change the mindset of the world and I want to level up the equality in the support and the awareness of female founders in the entrepreneurial space. So you can see that is a grand plan. That is a massive mission that I am on, and that will keep me aligned with my goals. And that's what I then talk about as a business brand, our business goals and missions, what our who we are wanting to help and why we're wanting to help them. You can bleed some of your personal story into the business brand, because ultimately the business wouldn't exist without your personal story and what took you to be at that point in your life that you wanted to support these other businesses, or offer the service and product that you're offering. So you can have some slight crossovers, but like I said, make sure that you separate them as much as you possibly can in your mind. That will really help you. And it will also help you gain clarity in your business, which I know so many of you struggle with. So then finally, moving on to the product brand. Now, again, obviously, there's a lot of the business brand that bleeds into this. You have the same color schemes on the same websites, all of those very simple things. But then you also have the same values and missions. That product or service has been created because of the values and the mission of the business. So there's definite crossovers here, but then you will also have unique product names. So for me, for instance, I have Female Founders is my business brand, but then I have Elevate, which is the event that I'm hosting in December. So it's a different name. And within that, then there's lots of different elements to that I'm trying to promote and make sure that people have clarity over. So it's a whole different brand strategy than just promoting the business or just promoting myself. And then working all of this into a strategy can feel really overwhelming at first. And this is why you need to sit down, and I like to work it out. I have a printout, and it's just a blank calendar basically with a little box for each day of the month. And I go, okay, well, I want to talk about my personal brand. I want to make sure that I'm posting personally every other day. So I'll pencil that in. I'm an absolute stationery geek. So I have a different colored pen for each element. I like to make it really pretty, and that helps me visualize it and make it interesting and stick to that task. So I have a pink pen when it's my personal brand, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to post every other day on this platform and that platform, and that's going to be building my personal brand. I'm also going to do these tasks, so these outreach about booking personal speaking opportunities or entering awards or whatever, my other tasks might be. And that is my personal brand strategy. Alongside that, for my business brand, I want to be posting about that every day. So I put that in on my little calendar. This is in green. And then I also look at, okay, well, how can I build the brand strategy? So if you are a product based business, promoting your products to influencers or to other brands, sending out tasters and freebies, copies of your book, whatever it is that you might be selling, that is a brand strategy. That's building that business brand. So it's allowing people to get to know what you're about, who your ideal client is, and what you're offering as a business. And then the product and services strategy for me is a very timely thing. So I'm not selling all year round in Female Founders. I'm having launches at the moment. It's all about my event that's coming up in December, Elevate. And I'm posting a lot about that at the moment. So I have to build that into my overall marketing strategy. Now, I don't want to be bombarding everybody. So I don't want to be posting every day about my business and then also posting every day about the event. So I change things up when I'm in a launch period. I will step back a bit from the business branding content, and I will replace that with the product or the service strategy that I'm building. What I do consistently, though, is the personal brand, because I understand through experience how vital that is to everything else in the business. So with my OG business, for those of you who don't know, I have an accounting and bookkeeping practice, which I've had for nearly 10 years now. And I built a really strong personal brand around that business. And I used all of the techniques that I talk about all the time and that I will be teaching everybody at Elevate Things like the PR and media, the public speaking, winning awards, all of these things really helped me build that personal brand. But then having that personal brand really helped me build the business brand and get the business awareness and also grow authority for the business and therefore bring in new clients, bring in new sales, and really elevated that business to where it is today. So I know the importance of the personal brand. It's the turning point for success in any business. When you can face the fear and just step in front of that camera anyway and start showing up online, when you start to be seen and be heard and be visible online as the person behind your brand, that's when magic happens and that's when everything can start changing for your business. This is the scariest element because you can hide behind the business brand strategy and the product brand strategy. That is when you're selling a tangible product or service. So that's very simple to build those strategies. The personal brand takes some getting used to for sure because you are promoting yourself, which can feel very uncomfortable for a lot of people. And I've been doing this for many years now. I still, struggle with, oh, is that a bit too, icky? Am I being a bit too full on in this post? I don't want to be boastful. I don't want to be, seen as showing off or any of those things. These are all doubts I have constantly when I'm coming up with content for my personal brand. It can feel really uncomfortable and very unnatural in the beginning, but you have to just push through it. And one of the greatest things I ever heard, and I think it was Danny Wallace that said this, she said that we all have a skill, some knowledge, an expertise that we need to share with the world. And it isn't actually up to us. It is unfair of us to keep that to ourselves and to not promote it. And I absolutely loved that. It really changed my entire mindset that actually me keeping myself to myself and keeping small and not building that personal brand was actually being really selfish. And I just loved that. It really allowed me that freedom and took that weight and that worry off me that actually it's my duty to share my journey and who I am and what I've achieved and what I'm planning to achieve in the future. And it's down to all of us to be that visible because wherever you are on your journey and on the road to success, there's people behind you that are at an earlier stage of their business journey and they are looking up to you. And the more that you can share about your journey and your day to day experience, and who you are and what you stand for, the more that you are helping the people before you or you're helping your clients. So actually, it's not for us to decide whether we're comfortable or not. We shouldn't even be thinking about us. We should be thinking about those other people out in the world that are going to benefit from the information that we're providing. What's really important when it comes to the personal brand is you still want to be giving value and content. You want the fluff, should we call it? You want yes, I went for brunch this morning with the girls and I went to walk my dog and I've had a lovely day. The sun is shining. You need all of that because that's what sort of makes you seem human to your audience and builds that, that relationship with them. But then in amongst that, you want the value. You want to be talking to camera, explaining, your expertise and your life lessons. You want the value in those PR and media cover that you achieve. And then you also want to be sharing some value from the business perspective. But again, I think this should come in a different format. So for Arden Bookkeeping, for instance, as a personal brand, I spoke a lot more about being a business owner and what bookkeeping and accounting can do for you as a business owner. The relief it can give you when you understand your numbers. I worked on a campaign to get HMRC to support business owners in a much stronger capacity because they really weren't helping us at all. I the personal brand, although was giving a lot of value, it was aimed at, the business owners, for instance. Then the business brand shared more basic, sort of mundane, but very important value. So it would be about tax compliance or, there'd be new legislation that would come in and I would share that. But that would all be the business brand because that's not me and how I spend my days and what's important to me on a day-to-day basis. That is about being an entrepreneur and my journey and how I can help other entrepreneurs. The business brand is more the actual, information and the value to do with the products and services that I was providing. And then the products and services themselves, obviously, were very simple to sell. So you can see again how I broke that down. And now my personal brand, because I had built that separately from the business, is now carrying me into this new business, into female founders. My personal brand is the same, and it still shows my passion for entrepreneurs and for female founders and how I want to support other business owners. I'd already built that personal brand before Female Founders was even founded. But if I hadn't separated the two, that would have been much harder for me to do. So, just as a quick recap, there's 3 types of branding. There's your personal brand, so important. Show who you are. Make those personal connections. There's the business brand. What are your business's values and mission? Why do you do what you do? What do you do and how do you do it? Then there's the actual products and services that you're providing. What is the benefit to your clients by using those products and services? I hope by listening to this that you can now understand the importance of all 3 and how you need to work a strategy individually for each one, but then put them together to create that overarching marketing strategy for your business. So, I hope that has been helpful to you all. I love answering these questions. If any of you have any other questions that you want me to answer, drop me a DM on any of my socials and I will do an episode later down the line answering those questions for you too. But for now, I will wish you a wonderful end to your week and I will catch up with you guys next week. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, which was brought to you by Xero Accounting Software, a champion of female entrepreneurs and a proud sponsor of the Female Founders podcast. If you're running a small business and you're dreaming big, then Xero is here to help make those dreams a reality. Xero is all about supporting women like you, who are not just running businesses, but are also changing the game. So whether you're just starting out or you're scaling up, join a global community of female founders who trust Xero to manage their finances efficiently. Just visit refer.xero.com/female founders to learn more. But for now, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share this episode with all the incredible female founders you know. And together, let's change what it means to be a female founder in today's world.